last week we did a blog called, "Hey, what's your problem?"
What's the matter with you?
Next week it's, "Hey, did we leave out anything?" Yeah. And we list all the potential problems that can possibly happen in an HOA and a condo. And I'm sure I left out some. And I asked our listeners and our readers, let us know what we left out.
Oh, my God, that's brilliant. I love it. So it seems like lack of enforcement is an issue. People want the DBPR to finally have some teeth. And I witnessed something this week. I was watching one of the Florida lawmakers, the panels passing one of your laws.
It's going through so far.
Well, it's a bill. So
flying colors, Karen. But you know what? Before we get going, I just want to do two things. I want to thank the mob.
Oh, yes.
That actually showed up at the Condo Craze board certification class in West Palm Beach this week. Great class, lots of fun. And if you were there, hey, give us a call. Give us a call. Let us know, how you felt about the seminar. Let us know if you think condo education should be mandatory.
You're calling them a mob?
Oh, it was unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, we had so many people. It's really, really great. And here's what's wonderful. The class ended. I walk outside and I get a call on my phone from House Representative David Barrero. And why is Representative Barrero calling? To wish me congratulations on the education bill, because it's going through. Period.
That's the whatever committee I was watching. That's the one I saw him pass.
It's flying through the
because I called you right after he did.
Exactly. It's a matter of days probably before it gets a vote on the floor. And I'm not celebrating anything yet.
Not yet.
Let it get to the finish line. Let the governor sign it.
We've
and
been
then we'll have a freaking party and we'll go from there.
Party?
Yes, we should have a party,
yes.
Right? Exactly.
I love it.
We were talking about enforcement that you brought up. And yes, people do want to see the DBPR have some more teeth. Is that another bill that's going to be going on? And believe it or not,
it's all added together.
It's all added. One giant condo bill this year. There might be one other, might be two, but there's one giant condo law bill that's going to contain a lot of things.
So it lowers the threshold to 25 units for people, for the condos that have to put their documents on a website.
We'll talk about that. Okay. There's so many things, Karen. And I think this year, but in terms of DBPR enforcement, those, we get calls week after week. The DBPR doesn't help me. They want DBPR to have more enforcement. Well, House Bill 1021, that's almost done. And here's what it says. The division shall, and we know we speak about that word shall all the time. Shall is must refer to local law enforcement authorities, any person whom the division believes has engaged in fraud, theft, embezzlement, or other criminal activity, or when the division has cause to believe that fraud, theft, embezzlement, or other criminal activity has occurred. That's one. Second bill, the division shall routinely conduct random audits of condominium associations to determine compliance with the website. I had a client once hit with a $5,000 penalty for failing to update the website. Or application requirements for official records if the association is not giving access to official records. DBPR is going to be able to do routine audits of this now.
Well, they have enough money to pay these people to do these jobs.
They're getting a lot more money too. Exactly. So
that should be interesting.
Here we go.
Yeah, and do you think it's going to lead to more criminal prosecutions of board members like the hammocks?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is,
that's really one of the cases that
I represented the hammocks for a while. I got out. All I can tell you is all hell broke loose, obviously. But do I think it's going to lead to criminal prosecutions of board members? Yeah, I do think it will, because the DBPR is now going to be mandated to refer these types of cases to law enforcement authorities.
That's right.
And remember, up till now, what's everybody's complaint? They
law enforcement says to handle.
Yeah, but what's the complaint about DBPR? We serve up a case of clear fraud to the DBPR, and DBPR says, not my job.
Yeah.
Right?
Not
my job. Yeah. We don't have jurisdiction over this. Case dismissed. So I think, that's probably going to change if they start doing their job. No question when this bill passes.
God, this is huge because, you always get calls about the board never having a meeting as well. But anyway, I think it's interesting that the hammocks was one of the big cases.
Yep.
And when this prosecutor, Catherine Fernandez-Rundle, went after them.
Yep.
That kind of set a precedent that this is a major problem.
Yeah, it is. It is a major problem.
And these board members better know.
And again, because, there's no fear factor. There really isn't much of a fear
now there
factor
should be.
Because, even when you serve it up to law enforcement authorities sometimes and make it easy, they look the other way and say, hey, it's a civil matter.
Right.
So I think, that's going to stop pretty much. Things are going to change. There's a new sheriff in town with these new laws.
Yes. Yeah. The complaint that we likely hear is a lack of transparency as well. The legislature tackling that issue this year as well.
It's certainly tackling lack of transparency. Another provision in House Bill 1021 is requiring boards to have more meetings with owners.
Good.
Like, here's what the law says. Because there a lot of unit owners complain, where is a board? We never see them. There's no meetings. So here's what this new bill says. In a residential condominium association of more than 10 units, the board shall meet once each quarter for the purpose of responding to inquiries from members and informing members on the state of the condominium, including the status of any construction or repair projects, the status of the association's revenue and expenditures during the fiscal year, or other issues affecting the association. I mean, these are mandatory meetings now.
Well, we always get calls. People, they didn't even hold a meeting for the election.
Right.
You have to have at least one meeting for the election.
So up until now, here's how it's been. Boards were only required to have 2 meetings a year. You were required to have a budget meeting and an annual meeting. That's it. That's what the statute basically required. And now it's a different story.
Good.
There's going to be at least 4 meetings per year, right, according to the statute, plus an annual meeting. So lots of changes are on the way. And of course, we're also going to have mandatory board education, it looks like, and mandatory disclosures by management companies. This is a big year.
The disclosures for management companies would be if they have any
conflict of interest. Exactly. So, it's like
about that last week.
A year where the legislature said, okay, we're going to tackle some of the nonsense that goes on in condominium associations. And it looks like it's going through.
Oh, it's 2024. What took so long to help these people?
It's not like condominiums were invented last week.
Half the state lives in a condo or an HOA. And this has been going on and
condos
on.
Were built in the 50s. So we're talking about basically 75 years almost.
Yes.
To come up with a statute like this.
Yeah.
Think about that. That's how crazy it is. But Representative Vicky Lopez really went to bat for a lot of the condominium owners throughout the state, and Senator Bradley as well, absolutely. Yeah. And they really deserve a lot of credit.
And the website too, as I was mentioning, they've lowered that threshold. What was it originally? It was for over 500.
Right, and then I went up there. I said, "How about 50?" And now I wanted 50 units. Guess what? It's going to be 25.
I love it.
I mean, it's really amazing. So major changes. So when I wrote the blog last week, as I was saying about what's coming up next week, people ask, or I was saying, hey, what's your problem, right? And I couldn't help think when I wrote the blog this week about all the issues that can arise in a condominium or HOA, and it's really endless. That's why we need these statutes. That's why we need them. And here's some issues, right? Really quick. That are routinely litigated or arbitrated.
Okay.
Right? These are just things I deal with basically on a daily basis. Faulty elections, failure to hold meetings, failure to post notices, failure to pass a budget, failure to pay assessments, failure to provide access to records, parking disputes, noise disputes, pet restrictions, emotional support animals, water leaks, failure to do the year-end financial statements, failure to have or update the website, material alterations dispute, contract disputes, disputes with the management company or manager, and do we go to arbitration, mediation, or court? And of course, that's not everything.
How about a tree's blocking my view?
Right. All the time. All the time.
And as a result of the new laws that have been passed recently, we now also have the failure to do the milestone inspection.
These are new complaints that are coming up.
Failure to make the required repairs. Failure to do the required reserve studies, which they're saying, the people that do the studies aren't available, so we're just going to have to push that down the road. No.
That's failed. That's been pulled out of the bill.
Good.
They were going to get an extension of time removed from the bill. No extension.
And failure
December 31st, 2024 is still in effect.
Okay, so if you're kicking the reserve down the road,
better not.
And you think because you legally can, you should rethink it, right?
Correct. Exactly.
And failure to follow the requirements of the reserve study.
Right. Those are all going to be new complaints. And those complaints, you're going to have to start out in mediation.
And if you think, well, no one's going to police it, you're wrong.
That's exactly, absolutely.
Because the teeth are now...
There's some teeth in the bill, right? You're going to be able to report it to the DBPR. You're going to be able to go to mediation, and then potentially court. So you wonder, you look at all these categories and you wonder why the Florida bar has made condominium and plan development law an area where Florida attorneys can actually get board certified.
Yeah.
This stuff is getting complicated.
It is.
This stuff is getting complicated now,